Hi friends, it's Kelly. Thanks for coming to my very first Hip Kit Club video. And I am working with this exclusive paper by the Hip Kit Club. It's called So Fancy. Two papers from the Color Study collection by Vicki Boutin, and my cut file will be cut also from the pink cardstock, and I'm using a watercolor paper in my background. So before I started the video, I did some fussy cutting to the Vicki Boutin floral paper. I wanted to cut various sizes, and I'm sticking to the three colors we got in the color kit this month. It's the pink, yellow, and blue. And I'm going to start by splattering my background. I saved my own old silhouette cut file covers and cut them into squares just to use on my desktop for things like this. So don't throw them away. They're really handy to have, either to lay your work on while you're splattering or to use as your paint palette for splattering. And this splattering goes on for a while, so my goal was to just get a very soft background of all three colors. I'm skipping ahead here just to show you how you can make every color in the rainbow with the colors that were in last month's kit. Yellow and pink make orange, pink and blue make purple, and the Catherine Pooler inks are so juicy and beautiful. They are going to last you a long time. So I'm using a beautiful cut file by Kim Watson called the Boho Mandela, and I cut it twice, once at 6.5 inches and once at 5.5 inches. And I'm going to lay one over the other, sort of to make a pretty doily that will be tucked into a floral spray, and my photo will fall near the bottom to make an L shape. So I cut down one of the Pocket Life cards and chose a couple others that worked well with my layout, and these are going to be the mat for my photo. I kind of like the black and white with the black and white flowers. I thought that looked really cute. So I'm not gluing anything down. I'm just trying to decide on the placement of all my ephemera, and everything so far seems to be sort of round. So I chose a couple of the round ephemera from the exclusive Hip Kit Club mixed die cuts, and I want to tuck those here and there around my layout just to continue the round effect. And I'm liking that so far. I'm going to push it way over to the left side of my layout and plan a border on the right hand side. Now I've chosen a couple of pieces of ephemera from Vicki Boutin's Color Study collection from the sticker sheet. I chose the budgie because we had a budgie named Tweety in the exact same color when I was little, and that was my first pet. I'm also using a phrase, "You make the world more colorful," and I'm scrapping this layout from my girlfriend's daughter, Anna. I just love her to pieces, and the photo is really cute. You'll see it in the end. Now that little sun is from the Sun-Kissed chipboard sticker sheet by Simple Stories. All sorts of cute icons on that sheet. I just loved it. So I'm popping it over the yellow tag, and that works perfect. Helps it stand out on my white background. So I pulled a couple of small ephemera pieces from the Amy Tangerine Be Bold phrase stickers, and if you've followed me for any length of time, you'll know that I love all the little things tucked here, tucked there. I just love seeing a lot of interesting things on my page and tend to focus on the minutiae, which may be or may not be a good thing. Some of you probably do that too. So I also pulled a couple of smalls from the Bits and Pieces package Simple Stories Sun-Kissed collection that I thought would look pretty on my page, and still sticking to my limited color plan of pink, yellow, and blue. So this is one of the papers in the main kit. Actually, everything I used is in the main kit, except for the inks. And I love that companies add interesting bits on the product border. And this is where the butterflies came from. So I'm happy with the way things are laid out on my background. And I'm just going to show you my border strip. That's my matting for my photo, which I printed at 2.75 by 3.5 inches. And my border strip was made up from the exclusive Hip Kit Club paper, 12 by 12 paper. It's called So Fancy. And one side had yellow dots and a pink stripe, and I'm going to use that for part of my border. And on the opposite side was the pretty chevron, and I'm going to use that for the rest of my border. I'm going to do some stitching there. So just putting the finishing touches on everything, and I'm ready to attach my border. I didn't quite put the tape where I wanted it. In fact, I ended up sewing through it because I've done some chain stitching along the border, and it's best to put your tape where you don't plan to do some stitching. So just keep that in mind. My needle was so gluey. So if you bought the color kit, you got not only the 3 inks by Catherine Pooler, you also received the Lemon Twist stencil by Simple Stories. And I used it just like an old time stencil. I used some fine tip pens in colors that matched my layout, and I traced the lemons and then used my 1.25-inch punch just to punch them out and create another piece of round ephemera that fit well with the rest of my theme. I just tucked those in and around my layout. I actually end up using 3, one in each color, to create that visual triangle. I've got 3 blue items, 3 lemons, and 3 black doodled flowers, and also 3 fussy cut butterflies. So that works out well when you're spreading them out around your page. Try and think about putting them in a loose triangle so that things look spaced evenly around your page. I'm sure all us scrappers have heard about the triangle many times, but I'll just throw that in there for any newbies that might be watching. So I'm going to start gluing things down. I use tacky glue in my fine line bottle, and I'm popping up some items with foam tape. Some of them I just tape directly to my background with double-sided tape, all in the interest of creating those peaks and valleys, layers and textures, and all that good stuff that make for an interesting and pretty layout. There I went and changed my mind. So this flower cluster I'm going to glue directly to my background so that I can pop up the cluster below it. You don't want everything popped up because then you'll lose the texture that you're hoping to create. So while I go through and affix everything to my background, I just want to take the opportunity to thank Kimberly Hutchinson and Kim Watson and the entire Hip Kit team for being so welcoming and so helpful with many things these first couple of weeks. And for all the gals out there who love and enjoy the Hip Kit Club too, I hope to inspire you over the next few months. And if you have any questions, please do leave them for me in the comments below. And visit the description box for links to the Hip Kit Club website where you can shop for all the product I've used today and the newest kit for September, which is absolutely gorgeous and you don't want to miss it. So I'm just putting the finishing touches on my layout, placing things where I think they look perfect, and I think I'm almost ready to add my photo. But before I do, I decided I needed some big splotches from the ink pads that I used, and I went ahead and did a little more splattering I just made it a lot wetter so that I could squeeze the end of my brush to drip some big spots here and there on my layout, just to add some variety to the tiny confetti-like splatter I'd made earlier. So I'm ready to add my stitching. I'm going to be doing the chain stitching along the right border, and this is the foam mat that I use to place under my layout, and a ruler with the holes spaced exactly right for the stitching. So I'm going to go ahead and make holes along there with my ruler and come back and show you just a couple of chain stitches. And I used yellow. The information is on the screen, and just a tip, only pull your thread from the long banded side, and that'll avoid any nasty knots in your thread. So I push the pin through the first hole and down through the next hole, and then push it up through the next hole and go under the stitch I just made. Do a couple more. So I'm going to go back through the hole I just came from and back to the top through the next hole under the stitch I just previously made and back through the hole I just came from. So I'll carry on with my chain stitch along this side and come back with the finished border. And here it is, the chain stitch. Just adds a little bit of a yellow color along the side, and that border balances off all the flowers on the left side, or that was my plan. And so the finishing touches now, just some sequins from my stash. And again, I chose limited colors, blue, yellow, pink, and I threw in a few gold ones too, just to add a little sparkle and shine to my finished layout. I want to thank you so much for joining me here. If you haven't yet subscribed to the Hip Kit Club, you can do so at the button below, and stay tuned for some close-ups coming soon. Take care. Bye-bye.